On religious diversity has come to a head in Britain, in a British university where students have decided to throw the Bible out of their dorms. Well, students at Aberystwyth University, they feel the inclusion of the Holy Book in bedrooms is inappropriate in a multicultural environment. Almost 300 voted for the move. But the head of the university's Catholic Society doubts the decision will actually promote multiculturalism.
The idea that it's not really multicultural to have Bibles included in universities strikes me as rather strange because in a truly multicultural and a truly inclusive society, beliefs and values must be shared rather than segregated. Inclusion of Bibles would actually encourage multiculturalism rather than cause any problems for it. It's not a case of insulting people by having the text, the Bibles in their halls. It's actually offering it to them, not forcing it upon them. Read this if you really want to understand what Christianity is about, and it's your choice.
Well, Aberystwyth University is just the latest in a string of cases when the Bible has fallen prey to multiculturalism across Europe. So one of Britain's largest hotel chains actually decided to remove all of its Bibles from its hotel rooms in order not to discriminate any religion at all. Well, the words Jesus and Christ have been banned as offensive by Marks and Spencer's on its online gift messages. The retailer later had to apologise. Ben Harris-Quinney, who is a founder of a conservative think tank, thinks such cases could mark some serious consequences for the country as a whole.
I think it's a great shame when traditions like this are abolished, particularly when it is abolished from so few votes being passed. But I don't think it is necessarily specific to the situation at the University of Aberystwyth. We've seen this sort of thing occurring across the country. Britain is a Christian nation. This country has its own church, the Church of England. And we are, by essentially metaphysical constitution, a Christian nation. Now, if we don't want to be a Christian nation anymore, then that is going to be a very serious change in our country, and it's going to mark a significant transition in the history.
And across the channel, a French court ordered a statue of Pope John Paul II to be removed, saying it violates the country's law on the separation of the church from the state. The same law also prompted a court in Nantes to ban Christmas nativity scenes from public places last year. Well, EU authorities also point at growing hostility and violence toward Christians in recent years that largely passes unnoticed by governments.
Washing away the blood from ambulances used to carry the dead and injured was not an easy task. But what the Garissa University attack has done will be even harder to erase within Kenya. This is a new strategy for Al-Shabaab, pitting Kenyan Muslims against Kenyan Christians. Students came under attack early in the morning as they slept. 4 Al-Shabaab gunmen stormed the university compound, separated Muslims from non-Muslims, and shot dead 148 people in cold blood. Al-Shabaab, seen here training in Somalia, is Al-Qaeda's branch in East Africa. When I talked to the group's spokesman on the phone, he was unapologetic about targeting students. And he told me Garissa is not Kenya. In the past, Al-Shabaab demanded Kenyan forces who invaded Somalia 3 years ago leave the country. That has now changed. The group wants Christian Kenyans to leave Garissa and other Muslim areas. They say it's rightfully their land, and this is having an effect across Kenya. That message appeals to some, especially young Muslim men. It's thought the militants who carried out the Garissa University attack were Kenyan nationals. I have also been told that the gunmen were at this training camp I filmed. They were members of the Al-Shabaab class of 2013.
جنة الفردوس العليا waxaan rajaynaynaa xur alcayn iyagu maxay rajaynayaan waxba rajayn maayaan.
The alleged mastermind of the massacre is this man. His name is Dulia Dane and he is from Garissa. The Kenyan government has put £100,000 bounty on his head. Dulia Dane was the headmaster of this madrasa before joining Al-Shabaab. We managed to talk to one of his former students who didn't want to be identified.
كل حال أوجه أنت إلهي أوجه هذا حتى أرنتاس كوسا بسان أما الجهاد وكهل جير كل ما كان أنت أحب الدراسة لكن ما كي ومساجد الجو واجهتها مواضيع وكهل واجهتها جهاد كانوا كهل جير واجهتها لو أنكحوا معي إنه معلني هاي عندنا سكوتيجان عن هين إنه تلقط الماما إنه مجالد وكذا شيء وواحد آخرنا وواحد بربريو فكرة ده هو أرنا أنكحوا معي.
In Garissa, politicians would like to show a united front, but it's a divided city. This bridge is the boundary. On this side of the river is a predominantly Muslim area. On the other is a safe haven for Christians. And the latest attack by Al-Shabaab is likely to drive this community farther apart. That is already happening. Muslims feel they are persecuted by the Kenyan forces, and Christians no longer feel safe in this region, where they are the minority. So they are fleeing in big numbers. Rose is one of those Christians. She came here seeking a better life and found a job as a hotel receptionist. Since the Al-Shabaab attack, she has been desperate to leave and is confused about what it means to be Kenyan. So you're not coming back to Garissa?
No, never. Never, ever. I'm not coming back. You never know whether maybe they're planning another attack.
When you say Kenyans, are they not Kenyans?
They are, but you know, I don't understand these people. That's the. I don't understand them.
So you think the locals here in Garissa don't see themselves as Kenyans?
That's the problem.
Rose is suspicious about people around her. She faces a tense journey through Kenyan countryside, and she has several hours before she can put the fear behind her. The following day, we meet her again. She's happy to be home.
I'm not scared, I'm not stressed. Someone can bang the door, I open peacefully.
And she's chosen to make a statement by wearing a Kenyan rugby shirt.
I feel I'm in Kenya. I feel more of Kenya than when I was in Garissa.
Once we have already suffered the disaster.
Rose may now be relaxed, but the Kenyan government cannot afford to be. Weeks after the university massacre, Al-Shabaab have vowed to continue their brutal project to its bitter conclusion. Those in power in Kenya will need a better strategy if they are to avoid a messy war that risks tearing this country apart.